Put those hands together and give the Lord some praise. Welcome to this new presentation of The Bishop is Speaking. We are here at Access 21. We decided to change the format a little bit, so we will be recording in the studio. And today, I have a very interesting person here. Her name is Emma Foster. She is a licensed clinical social worker associate at Florence Crittenton Services. I want you to give a good welcome to my good friend Emma. How are you?
Hi, Bishop. I'm
Thanks
absolutely
for
wonderful.
coming.
Thank you for having me here today.
We recently moved here in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2015, and shortly after that, I attended the Homeless Network where all the service providers come in, and I met Dr. K, and she told me about your program, and I just had to come and see for myself.
Right.
You're doing some great work over there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And
why don't you tell us a little bit about the program? I
will be glad to. Florence Crittenton Services is a therapeutic residential maternity home. We've been in service and operation since 1903, so collectively that's 114 years of service that we've been providing to the women and children of the greater Charlotte community and other broad areas. We have 4 programs there, maternity program being the oldest, but my maternity program, we have a mother and child program there for adolescents, mothers who are currently in foster care. We have an aftercare program for women who have completed our program but are still in need of some of our supportive services. And then we have a non-parenting, non-pregnant program for young ladies that are completing college as well as entering the workforce who are also in foster care and in need of our services.
Right. Well, you know, that's some very satisfying work.
It is.
I mean, you know, when you get to touch lives, and tell me your experience with working with the clients.
Oh, that is really the heart and continues to be the drive of my passion to continue the work. Working with the ladies of Florence Crittenton is more than fulfilling. It's more than an opportunity to learn. It's more than a way to keep your ears to the outside world and understand changes that are happening and how it's affecting the people we serve. The ladies come from all walks of life, very diverse backgrounds, in needs of various things that we are able to provide when they arrive at us. So providing emotional support for women who are confronting some mental health issues, some substance abuse issues, some issues in families, dysfunctional families, domestic violence situations, just a myriad of things continues to keep us and help to further define our purpose, the need for us to be an agency operating in this community, but also to just help us continue to become better people by engaging with people who are in situations that at any given time any of us may be confronted with. Right.
And tell me about some of the challenges of working with this particular population.
Oh, gosh. Well, as it is with any nonprofit, there are kind of some standard challenges that you are confronted with in areas of funding, finding resources, specifically as it relates to this population, which are women and children predominantly. Our primary issue as it relates to our maternity program is trying to figure out creative and resourceful ways, but effective ways to secure housing for the ladies once they leave our program.
Right.
The maternity program is the shortest term program we have, and they come in at various stages of pregnancy. And depending upon when they deliver, that is when they leave our program. Once they leave the hospital, they are officially discharged from our program. And it is at that point that they need to be able to transition into safe and secure housing. Housing is an issue, of course. definitely with the homeless population here in the city of Charlotte.
Right.
And it's really not just localized in that regard, but it's an issue nationally. The numbers for homelessness across our nation continues to increase. So when you're talking about a vulnerable group like women and children, there is an imperative need for housing in order to make sure that the services they've received, the strides towards stability they've been able to obtain while with us, are able to be sustained and maintained. So housing is a very paramount concern and issue. But we are able to connect them to some transitional housing programs through collaboratives that we've established with other agencies in the community, where they're able to transition out of our agency into other temporary housing situations, or for our clients that are employed or working on an educational plan, oftentimes they're able to use their own funding and secure some housing that's supplemented, of course, in order to give them that safe and stable housing that they need in order to continue to work toward their goals ultimately. So housing is definitely an issue. Figuring out how we're going to address the cycle of poverty. Education is paramount, so that is one of the key factors that we hone on while they're with us. Our ladies come in the door and we immediately start working on their service plans and treatment plans, where they communicate to us what they want to establish, how they want to leave us, what differences they want to have made, or at least started making an impact or started making steps toward improving their current circumstances and overall situation longer term. So addressing the cycle of poverty through education is paramount. We give them opportunities to engage in GED training and classes if that is the direction that they choose to go.
Right.
We also have minors in our program, so getting them enrolled in education. They are allowed to attend the public schools here in Charlotte, so making sure that they're able to go to school and receive any additional supportive services that they may need in order to be successful in school. So we do offer tutoring services on site, in addition to working very closely with CMS, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School System, their counseling staff, their administrative team, principals, vice principals, academic counselors, anything that we need to be a part of that is an integral part of surrounding our ladies to make sure that they are successful in what they've chosen they want to accomplish in their lives.
Well, you know, I noticed since I recently moved here from Los Angeles about a year and a half,
Wow.
but I've noticed that there's a huge network of service providers who are working diligently together.
Absolutely.
And I kind of got pulled into it, and I decided that our church wanted to partner with Florence Crittenton Services, and I noticed that you're working with a lot of other people in the area.
Absolutely. First of all, let me say thank you, Bishop Rivers,
Thank you.
for hearing the need, answering the call, and not being afraid and or fearful to continuing being a part of the hand that is changing lives.
Yes.
We are indeed part of a vast network of service providers here in Charlotte, and not just in the Charlotte area, helping to or trying to make an attempt to, of course, if not eventually eradicate, which is the overall goal,
Right.
but simply add some relief
Right.
and giving vulnerable groups and populations a hand up. And you mentioned initially the HSN network,
Right.
Homeless Services Network is what
Yes.
HSN stands for. That, of course, is a collective of various service providers in this area that are coming together, kind of a think tank, if you would. We get to share what challenges we may be facing collectively, and of course when you're able to hear what's happening in an agency here and an agency here, you're able to better pinpoint what may be something that's a trending challenge or could potentially be a barrier.
Right.
You're able to better see and feel and understand the clients and how their needs are shifting.
Right.
And also continue to develop your services, because we have to ensure that our services remain relevant.
Right.
And the only way to do that is if you are keenly in touch with and astute in areas of service provision as it relates to the clients,
Right.
those receiving the services. So networking, especially in Charlotte, you know, you mentioned coming from California. So this is definitely a regional shift. It's a regional change. And in this area, we're in the South, networking, who you know and how you're able to connect with people, relationships.
Right.
You cannot really impact anyone or the work you do without integral relationships. And
Exactly.
ultimately, you know, the people we serve are just desiring to see another person who has a hand, willing to put their hand in theirs, to interlink those hands, walk with them
Right.
until they're able to kind of take a different road by themselves. And that does not necessarily mean that they won't have to say, I need your help again, or even if it's just in the form of encouragement.
Right.
A phone call, which we offer. All of our clients have access to us from the day they come through our doors. They can leave our doors 6 or 7 years and still call back and have access to speak
Right.
with us, to talk with us. They visit. It's a joy to see children coming back that
Right.
have been delivered there or have lived there at
Right.
some point. We even have past residents from other states, other counties, other areas who come back and say, I was born at Florence Crittenton. So definitely networking, staying in contact with other agencies, it's paramount in us trying to discuss and work through housing issues. How can we keep our women and children engaged in educational systems? How can we help them find housing? How can we continue to find jobs? Because employment is big. It's a challenge, but once they are engaged in the workforce and able to maintain, then we're able to further their goals and work with them toward that. And also mental health service providers. Naturally, you know, when you're talking about a vulnerable group of people, definitely women and children who have very diverse backgrounds, but have confronted issues of homelessness, are trying to overcome substance abuse, who've definitely been exposed to what has been normalized as it relates to intimate partner violence, domestic violence in the home, substance abuse, parents that were abusive. When you're talking about that being the nurturing environment, and then they come to us and we're presenting a new paradigm. This is a whole changing of a mindset. This is confronting something that before now you saw nothing wrong with, or even thought that it was an issue that needed to be addressed or corrected. So that comprehensive approach that we take in service provision helps address all those major areas, and of course the impact of trauma with our ladies who, I don't want to make light of any degree of trauma that has been sustained or is even still being experienced.
When you
for our
say
ladies.
trauma, what do you exactly mean by trauma?
Oh wow, Bishop. Trauma has so many faces, so many forms. Again, back to what has been normalized or made to seem just simply okay for our ladies. Predominantly, we have a lot of, as I mentioned, domestic violence, intimate partner violence, verbal abuse, which a lot of people may not even acknowledge, is traumatic for our ladies. And we understand something as unplanned as a car accident, of course, can be traumatic. That's something that's unforeseen. But, you know, the impact of the accident, the unplanned dynamic of the accident, it was not something that you saw coming as you are just going along your day. But for that to happen, it will impact your brain. It will impact how you would typically go about your day.
Right.
You know, you're naturally a little more cautious.
Right.
You could be a little more defensive, or you
Right.
could just simply recoil from what had become your normal degree and level of functioning. And that is exactly what trauma does. As it relates to our women, we have, again, domestic violence, we have mental health issues. There is definitely a rise, specifically in the adolescent community, of human trafficking. A lot of our adolescent girls have been...
Has there been a rise in human trafficking?
Absolutely. And Charlotte is a hub, one of the major hubs in our country. for human trafficking with our adolescent girls.
Is it mostly towards one race? Because we would assume by what we see on TV that it's just the Asian population. Is it the blacks and whites and Asians and everybody?
I'm going to say human trafficking has affected a diverse population of young women. And it is exactly, you know, the depicting that it is only this or it's only that, which could play a role in people less being inclined. If I'm a part of a specific demographic of people, well, it's not my problem or it's not our issue. There are certain groups of persons who are more vulnerable to those things. Human trafficking, of course, if you are homeless, again, if you are displaced, if you're a runaway. But those are not just the children that are falling prey to human trafficking. And it's not just an issue that affects young ladies, young men as well. One of the primary hubs of predators who facilitate human trafficking is social networking and social media. They are creating fake profiles on Facebook, and a lot of our adolescent populations, just because of where they are in their stages of development, are looking for affirmation. They're looking for validation. They're looking to continue to shape and define their identity. And socially, just looking at how things are shaped and how we engage with one another. You know, human contact is, and human fellowship one with another is not something that is necessarily fostered. So this dynamic of just engaging with one another via social media is pretty commonplace, and that has become a primary point of contact for predators to lure young men and young women by creating false profiles on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat and making you believe that you are somebody that you're not, meeting people at places, fashion modeling, all these opportunities to make money, and it turns out to be a human trafficking person, and they're kidnapped, and typically that's how it goes.
Right. Well, you know, so it's not just the women, it's men too.
Men and boys as well.
See.
Yes. And I know typically, you know, when we hear vulnerable, and that is attributed to gender socialization and how things are labeled and categorized, that contributes to miseducation of people rather than raising their awareness and keeping them in a place where they're alert. But, you know, the depiction that males are more equipped or that males are more astute or have this natural survival instinct that will keep them from falling prey to human traffickers is a myth. Right. And it's not so much an issue of natural selection or an issue of a greater ability to survive as much as it is the expertise of the predator. Right. And how they determine you are a prime candidate, or how they have mastered and understand the systemic way and methodology to luring people in. This is the mindset and mentality of a predator. Right.
Well, so what is the strength of Florence Crittenton Services?
Strength?
What are you good at?
Oh gosh. Strength is difficult because I feel we have so many.
Okay, come on. Well, give us a couple.
Okay, definitely one of our greatest strengths is being able to meet our ladies where they are. You know, the initials for Florence Crittenton Services are, of course, FCS. That stands for Florence Crittenton Services. And when I started working there, one of the things that I definitely was confronted with, and we know this simply from Maslow's establishment of the hierarchy of needs.
Exactly.
Right? We all have the basic needs that have to be met in order for us to function in any capacity. Right. Well, our ladies are no different. So for me, I took FCS and just changed the acronym, and it stands for food, clothing, shelter. Right. If we do not meet our ladies where they are and just simply check in those areas initially, any additional service provision could prove to be futile. So Florence Crittenton Services has a full service cafeteria where our ladies are given 3 meals a day and 3 snacks. I mean, we have pregnant ladies, we have children, babies there, so they're able to eat. And when they come through the door, if a hot meal is what they need, if they're hungry, you know, of course, we could be confronting issues of neglect with our population. Make sure you're fed first, right? Make sure you're able to eat.
Right.
Clothing, we have and receive donations.
Right.
So to make sure, do you need to shower? Is there any type of thing that can be done that would help you feel better, make you comfortable?
Right.
And then shelter. Because you're in a place or you're in a building does not necessarily mean you feel safe and that you have shelter.
And you have to feel safe.
Correct.
Right.
You may not feel that, you know, I finally can rest.
Right.
So confronting the heightened levels of anxiety, the nervousness of instability, just knowing that, okay, I'm all right for now, is something that is paramount. You're safe, you're here, you have a bed, and then you have a system of support of people who are here to help you, and making sure that our ladies are able to trust us as service providers.
Right. Well, you know, I want to speak for the church, and we do not focus in that area, but we do partner in that area. And I think it's very important for the church to get out of the 4 walls and get into the community and serve. And if you can't do a lot of service, then write a check. Am I right about it?
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
put your money where your mouth is.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
And I also wanted to give the segue that we do come over and visit you guys and meet your clients. And, and I mean, my members, we really have a good time with that.
Absolutely. And the ladies love your visits. They love it when you come. You know, Paraclete has come and shared with our ladies there, and it's just been an absolute joy. I've seen the residue of when they have group meetings with you all in the evenings, and it lasts for days on end.
Really?
They're still saying, oh my gosh, we shared in authenticity, which matters with them.
Right.
Genuineness, they're able to connect, but the way that Paraclete has been able to come over and just share some stories from an aspect of experience, their journeys, and being willing to unselfishly just contribute and give to our ladies has been an absolute wonderful contribution to the overall wellness and even the enhancing of their spirit. You know, even if it's just giving them an opportunity to say, I want to keep going, I can do this.
Thank you. Tell me about the Leon Levine Challenge Grant.
Sure. The Leon Levine Challenge Grant is actually an opportunity that Florence Crittenton allows every year, where donors can call our agency or they can go online and donate, and whatever amount that they donate is matched by the Leon Levine Foundation. This year it's a little different in that donors who have previously donated, maybe not in the last year, but if you have ever donated before, you can donate again, and that lapsed donation will still be matched, and then it will be enhanced as well. So the Leon Levine Challenge Grant is just that. Donors are challenged to donate and allow us to match whatever your donation is, and of course, the funds go toward Florence Crittenton Services.
Very good. Well, let me tell you, we are excited to have the opportunity to work with Florence Crittenton Services. Tell me a little bit about your annual luncheon coming up.
Oh, the annual luncheon. The luncheon is an event that we have every year where we are able to award and especially recognize one particular community member who has been affiliated with our agency in one capacity or another. And we use that luncheon to definitely raise awareness, continue to educate community, And donors, past clients are in attendance, staff members are in attendance about the services of Florence Crittenton. We are also able to come together as a collective to see the work that we've done, what we've accomplished in the last year. The event is held at Myers Park Baptist in the Myers Park community, right across from Queens College. And we have that event annually. It's absolutely a joyous event. We do have notable members of the community who are part of that event, but the event proves to be an absolute wonderful way of connecting, networking. Our service providers, community members, friends, all are in attendance at our annual luncheon. We have past clients or current clients who actually serve as keynote speakers at our event, and it gives anybody, whether you know about Florence Crittenton, whether you have visited Florence Crittenton or not, but I think it provides an excellent gateway into understanding the need for these services and to see how it affects some of the clients that have come through our doors and their families.
What would you like the local Charlotte market to know about Florence Crittenton Services?
Wow. I think the local Charlotte market should know that we are here. It is very imperative that you know Florence Crittenton is here in the city of Charlotte. We are located at 1300 Blythe Boulevard, right on the campus of CNC Hospital, Maine on Kings Drive. But we are here, and if you are in touch with, you yourself need services in areas of maternity, child and family, as it relates to homelessness, pregnancy, we are here. We are able to provide services, ready, willing, and able to do the work to continue building members of our society, women and children, and helping them to become vital members of this community.
Thank you for tuning in to The Bishop is Speaking. My name is Bishop M.J. Rivers, and I'm the host. And we're so glad that you have spent this time with us. Why don't you come out to a live worship service? The church is located at 3815 North Tryon Street in the Conference Center. Service time at 11 a.m. Why don't you come out to Bible study? We have a meal every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and then we study the Bible for about an hour. We're so glad that you have tuned into the broadcast. We come on every Monday night at 8 p.m. and we hope to see you next week. God bless you and be encouraged.